What's going on, guys? How are you? Away from Revolution here at the 2019 SIHH, as you well know, and here with Wilhelm Schmid, one of my favorite guys, and the CEO of the amazing Lange Söhne. And Lange is celebrating an amazing anniversary this year, anniversary of the very first watch that created this modern interpretation or modern vision of the brand.
Yeah, look, it's. I always say that I probably wouldn't sit here with you, Wei, if Mr. Blümlein and Walter Lange would have not launched this watch.
Sure.
So 25 years our bestseller. And I think today they call it a classic watch. You and I know as we launched it, that was quite innovative. The size was big.
Yes.
38.5 millimeter 94 was not a small watch.
Absolutely.
Decentralized information.
Which there was nothing like that.
Nothing like that.
Exactly.
Outsized date and a wristwatch, which was also pretty new in those days.
Double barrel.
Double barrel. Yeah. 3 days of power reserve, which it still has. So it's all the little things.
Untreated German silver movement, and then with the whole three-quarter plate, and then all the expression of the German watchmaking with the engraved balance cog. I mean,
it's you name it. This is the DNA.
Yes.
It epitomizes what we stand for.
Incredible.
And we went really back to our first attempts.
Right.
Today the Lange one usually has indices, and they're usually done out of the same material than the case.
Yes.
It's printed. On the other hand, we refined the dial because it has these two different levels.
Yes.
And it's all in sort of a blue.
Stunning.
And if you turn it around, and I'm sure
incredible.
you will be pleased to see that it's the hand engraved Stammhaus, which is the house of the Lange family, and today my office.
And then the names of the two founders as well.
Exactly.
So you've got Günther Blümlein.
The brain and the history, which is Günther Blümlein and Mr. Lange. They're both the brain and the value, however you call it. But without these two guys, their brains, their hearts, their power to in those days to really launch something like this.
Yes.
I probably wouldn't sit here, at least not representing Lange Söhne.
But then there's still even more of a tribute on the inside of the watch. On the famous balance cog. Right?
So you see it here, and for the first time, what we did is, the engravers will hand engrave it. There is a 25 engraved in all these editions, what we do is we use the same system that we use on the moon phase disc.
Yes.
And then we again polish the surface, so the color will stay in the bottom end of the engraving, but the surface will be again German silver.
Wonderful.
So that's the idea behind it. So you have again room to honor and commemorate two great gentlemen.
Incredible.
Without them I wouldn't sit here, but you still have the beauty of the movement.
Great.
So that's one way of celebrating 25 years of success, isn't it?
I had a very interesting gentleman who I met, Joseph, who, if you were out there, Joseph, what's up? So it's interesting because he and I were bidding quite furiously on Günther Blümlein's 3705 ceramic UC pilot's watch at Phillips auction, because this is the watch that he had given to his wife. And he's just such a legendary figure in the watch industry. Despite the fact that I've never really met him, still, just such an inspiring guy to basically resurrect and elevate this brand to the level of Patek or Vacheron or Audemars Piguet, but with a language and expression that's so uniquely German. I mean, he basically created haute de gamme German watchmaking.
It's no question. Without him, that's and a lot of things that he established we still use today.
Yes.
And if it is as if you describe your DNA, you usually go back to 1850, no outside date.
Yes.
It all goes back to him because he said the numerals will fight with each other, so we don't do it.
Right.
The Zeitwerk is something that came later.
Yes.
But even the Zeitwerk refers to the fundamentals that Blümlein established to create a unique design approach of us to German watchmaking.
Absolutely. I mean, it certainly is inspired by the 5-minute clock in the Dresden Opera House, as is his date,
Absolutely.
and as is the digital
Absolutely.
indicators. And also is an incredible expression of Blümlein's vision for in-house technical innovation as well because of the constant force aspect, the dimension of that watch. And I know you're wearing the 10th anniversary Zeitwerk,
which is the other anniversary.
Yes.
So I'm particularly proud because this watch answers the two questions that I always had for the Zeitwerk.
Yes.
You may call it age, but I need a date. A watch without a date is very difficult for me.
Yes.
Because I look at it all the time. I don't know why, but I look at it all the time.
Yes.
I need a date. And then the second thing is the power reserve.
Yes.
And we doubled it literally.
So 72 hours power reserve, and yet
hour,
somehow you made it thinner.
Thinner because it's a
0.3
different technique of the main barrel. So we have now two springs in it and not just one giant strong spring.
So it's
a little bit like the Lange 31. Yeah, more like the Lange 31 than the way to integrate the two. So it's more this technique, and then of course
I see what you're saying. So it's
what we learned over the last 10 years.
Right.
Also, to make it a little bit more convenient, you can adjust the date and the hours with two push buttons. It makes it a lot easier to.
So the second hairspring you're talking about is the hairspring related to the constant force mechanism.
That's the hairspring to the constant force. We have these different executions.
Right.
The Richard Lange jumping second, 1 second.
Yes.
This one every minute,
yes.
And then in the Lange 31 to just control that massive power.
Yes.
And then we have the execution of the fusee and chain for the polymerate watches.
So actually, the control of power and the precision of power.
We have 9 watches with that. I think that's almost a record. I'm not sure whether any other company at the moment has 9 watches with constant force
mechanisms
in different ones.
And different ones. That's cool. That's really cool. Can we also take a look at the Richard Lange?
I'm sure it's somewhere there. It's coming. It's coming. Thank you so much. Thank you. Right. So again, the watch is also a constant force watch for different reason. In this case, we operate the second jump with constant force. That one comes with a 0 reset.
Yes.
Again, something which goes back to Blümlein because we launched it 1997 for the first time, and ever since then we always have a watch
with a 0 reset mechanism.
With a 0 reset. It's not possible in all watches, as you know, and it's a lot more difficult than it looks.
Yes.
But on this one, it's quite spectacular because you have these massive dial to represent the jumping second, and of course, if you pull the crown, truly something happens on that dial. You want me to do it again?
Please. Yeah, it's cool. That jump with that massive second hand is great.
Yeah. And the trick is, when you start it, it has to get back into that rhythm. Mm-hmm. Because you need a full second, a full second, a full second.
Right.
The tiny little, you won't see that right now, but that will turn red if there are 10 hours left of power reserve. So it's not really a power reserve indication, it's just a little warning.
Right.
Because for constant force you don't need power reserve.
No.
You just need an indication
as to
when it's time to rewind the watch. And that's
so that little
all
triangle
it
there where the two sub-dials
it's right there, yes.
intersect.
Yeah.
And that's black at the moment, so we're good.
We're good.
Yeah.
We won't see the red, at least not today.
Glad to hear it.
And talking about beautiful movements, there's no question. This is quite spectacular.
Really cool. That's just so breathtaking. Your movements, phenomenal.
Thank you, Wei. Always good to hear. Compliments I can't get enough.
And you've got quite an extraordinary ground complication as well, if I'm not mistaken.
We never call it ground complication. We only have one ground complication.
Yes. You have the ground complication.
No, we have just one, which we produced 6 times. But this one is a spectacular watch because it's combining the data graphs, which is a flyback chrono with jumping minute counter.
Yes.
Perpetual calendar.
The first one with jumping precise jumping minute counter.
1999, exactly.
Anagram Fleischer.
It's almost 20 years, isn't it? It is 20 years. It's a 20th anniversary as well. We just hide it because we don't want to overload us with anniversaries.
Sure.
Outside date and perpetual calendar also first as we launched it. And then what I think is quite spectacular is this one, for me personally.
Yes.
And the good thing is I do have the right to have an own opinion. That's probably the nicest movement we have in the collection.
And you've
today.
got a lot of nice movements.
And we have but that, if I had to pick a personal favorite.
Look at that tourbillon bridge as well. Is that a black polish?
It is black polish, so and it's quite big. So
there's a lot of black polishing involved.
Yeah, you better get that right because it's quite frustrating if at the last hour something happens if you have to throw it away.
The black polishing, guys, for you, those of you out there, is when something is polished so perfectly that it does not absorb light. So it looks black, even though it's basically more than mirror polish. It's perfectly polished. And that is quite a skill, if I'm not mistaken.
It deserves a lot of expertise and patience.
Yeah.
Because it's not a quick job.
But on the front side of the watch, also, everyone's been calling this watch incorrectly a salmon dial watch because it is not.
It's true rose gold. It's an uncoated, untreated rose gold.
Right. So that's a massive gold dial that you have on the front of that as well.
It is indeed.
Fantastic.
It'll be very difficult to take photos of it. That's what we've realized by now. In the metal, in the flesh around the wrist, it looks a lot different to what you can see in print or you take photos. It's very difficult to. Again,
so wearable as well.
You know, I do have the black one of these.
Yeah.
I had it around my wrist for almost a year. 41.9 millimeter. Good height. It's a very wearable watch.
Yes.
For 2 big complications plus a flyback chrono.
Yeah.
Can't be an ultra thin watch.
Yes. Fabulous. Oh, impressive. Schmid, would you like that? That's more of a salmon dial. You know?
Yes, that looks more. Yes.
So I get what you're saying. Really lovely.
Thank you, Wei. Thank you.
Do we have the honey gold as well, or no need? No, don't worry. I think that's perfect, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Wilhelm, great stuff as usual. You know,
good to see you,
I love it. And so Joseph, if you're watching from out there, because he's been asking for certain, like, he would like to be allocated the 25th anniversary watch, and there's like a certain number that he wanted. Bro, I can't help you, but I'm going to give you the contact information of Anne, who is
she will look after you.
Southeast Asia, and she'll sort you out.
Definitely she will. Perfect, Wei. Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Good to see you.